Good. My plan has worked. Oh,
I know. You know what?
no.
I wouldn't be surprised if Mikey had something to do with this.
It'd be hilarious.
Everyone, there's a ghost in the machine. Um,
Yes.
But we won't get into that because it's a private matter. But welcome back to Slashers Podcast, the show that this month is slicing through horror films like your dad's favorite warm apple pie. This week, we're serving up piping hot reviews of The House of Spoils, the chilling horror flick that puts a new twist on pressure cooking. In this savory story, a chef's dreams of running their own restaurant quickly turn into a kitchen nightmare with suspicious sous chefs and recipes from beyond the graveyard wall. This film delivers tension thicker than your grandma's overnight gravy, right, Lance? So,
Mm.
grab your
Uh,
wet naps, gird your pork loins, because we're diving fork first into the review where ambition is deadly, mistakes are killer, and that beautifully transparent soup runs shit brown here on November's Evil Eats.
That was
Woo!
beautiful.
Thank
That
you.
was really
Thank
good,
you.
Mikey, actually. I like that.
I
Man,
know.
challenge accepted. Gauntlet thrown
That's
down.
how you host everybody, okay? I'm just kidding. I have a fun game I wanted to play with you guys.
Hmm.
Mm.
What's something you can say in a movie theater that you can also say while having sex?
That was horrible.
I mean, going off of Terrifier 3, Lance, what took you so long?
Oh my gosh. Wait, what are you asking me exactly?
Oh
Oh
my
my
God.
God.
You know what? That's Lance's answer.
What are you asking me exactly? I do say that in bed, and I do say that in movie theater. What the hell?
I know. I've heard your stories nasty.
Mm.
But anyways, speaking of a turn of events, the film we have reviewing today is the 2024's House of Spoils. This movie is available on Prime. If you're a Patreon member, you would have remembered that we reviewed the trailers in October for movies coming out soon. This was on the list. Like I mentioned earlier, it's basically about a chef who decides with an investor to open up a restaurant in the middle of nowhere in this really weird abandoned building. It doesn't already questionable judgment, but yeah. So she tries to come up the menu. She is a good chef. She's a protege of like a really famous chef, but things just aren't working in her favor. Food is rotting super quickly, and she's trying to figure out WTF is going on in her kitchen. The film is directed by two people, two women, Bridget Savage Cole and Danielle Crudy. Both of these women also seem to have done another movie called, I saw it earlier and I forgot what it was called. It's a weird Below the Man Down or something like that. What's it called?
Hmm.
That's a
Blow the
Interesting.
man
title
down.
there.
Blow the man down.
Hey, were you guys both shocked that that when the main chef from her restaurant in the beginning, when he offered her like double her pay, like that she turned it down? Because I was like, in my head, I was like, how much could you possibly be getting if this main chef is offering you? And he goes, now that you're rich. I
Yeah.
was like you could continue doing the same thing you're doing and be making money. You're in New York, which most people would love to be in. You know what I mean? I was actually kind of thrown off by that. I mean, were you?
I thought that too, but it's also one of those things where it's like when someone does that, it's like, well, then why aren't you're saying that I'm worth more? Why aren't you paying me what I'm worth? So it's also like a good thing and also a bad thing at the same time. Um, but with
Mm.
me, it would have been a very short movie. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
credits
seriously.
roll.
Like fuck that place out in BFE.
Yeah. Also, less responsibility because you're not the main one. Like, and this is something you guys might not know about me, but I'm actually a very good cook. And my family has always been like, oh, you should be a chef. Oh, why don't you work at a restaurant? Oh, you'd be so good at this, so good. It's like, no, I wouldn't. Because yes, I have the talent, but I do not have the mental strength to be a chef because that shit is crazy. You're the only one, you're the only point of contact. This movie was giving me anxiety. It's exactly like the Gordon Ramsay shows. Like, maybe not that abusive, but like it's extremely fast paced. Like, we saw it in the menu. They take it very seriously. If I upset people, I don't care. Like, I don't care if you don't like it. That's fine. I would be a terrible chef.
Or one of the best. That's the sad part about that right there, because that's how
Well,
that world works. You know what I mean? It's like you literally like. That's the reason why I'm not in that field anymore. Like I legitimately like again, like I said on menu,
you're
where
on the
I
menu?
basically yeah, like I basically almost stabbed somebody. So
Oh,
it's
that's
like
true. Yeah.
so I mean that shit's real. Like it's crazy, and then the fact that again, it seems like another kind of a, I guess in this movie, I don't want to jump ahead, but like another woman on woman kind of like hate, kind of scenario.
It is that I did kind of put that in my head as a talking point also is, but I also wanted to say, I don't know if y'all got this, but if this is the intention, I apologize that that I'm not, I don't know. I feel like they were trying to make her non-binary. She's not non-binary as an actress. You look at her resume, I mean her biography and stuff, like she, her pronouns. But I noticed that they never really called her her. She didn't have a name. They just referred to her as Chef, and even she's credited in the movie as Chef. So I don't know if that was on purpose or not. Um, so I
Mm.
Oh,
apologize if that was the intention and I didn't
well, her
grasp it.
name is Elena, isn't it?
In the movie,
In the movie?
she's credited as Chef, and I was trying to pay attention to be like, did they call her anything? But I was already like too far into the movie to
Oh, no, I thought her name was Elena. And then it says Elena and all this stuff.
maybe. Well, her real name is Ariana DeBose. She is,
Hmm.
I'm assuming Broadway, because everything she's done has been singing and stage. And I mean, she's done movies, but the movies are like musicals like Rent. I think we had this conversation last time when you were like, was it Anita? And I was like, oh, the one that has AIDS. And it was completely
Oh my
the
gosh.
wrong play,
Mm,
whatever. We also have Barbie Ferreira,
Ferreira.
Barbie Ferreira. She is from Euphoria, and I like her a lot more in this than I did in Euphoria. We have Arian Moid, Martin Sokus, Mikkel Brat Silset, Amara Karan, and Imola Gaspar playing the witch.
Wait, isn't the one? Is she the one that dropped out or got fired? Is that the one from Euphoria?
She is the sous chef, the new sous chef.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I don't know. Maybe I saw something where I like, gossipy things where I thought she like left, but maybe she, like,
I,
because I think she did some other thing too, like another like independent movie. That's pretty cool.
she was, I think she was also in Nope, very small role in Nope. She was the girl that worked with the Mexican guy with the blonde hair at the Best Buy looking thing. Uh,
Oh,
she
okay.
was she was his counterpart, but she was barely in it. But I think she did leave Euphoria because I don't know, I don't want to misspeak, but I think she didn't like what she was doing in Euphoria, allegedly.
Yeah, yeah.
So don't come after me, Barbie. Um, but I know you guys are not gonna like this movie. I will say it's it comes off as a witchy movie. Uh, and it's mostly icky because of bugs and rotting food. And it actually connects very beautifully to the menu. I kept getting callbacks of the menu. And then also
100%.
we have a callback from Raw because the dude eats his finger and that was fucking
Mm.
gross, just like it was in Raw. And I was like, look at us making these movies connect to each other.
Until mine.
Unintentionally. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I
Wait
know.
until Lance tarnishes this pristine month.
I'm
Hmm.
just saying. If anyone's gonna ruin it, it's gonna be me.
We know.
That's true.
Yeah.
I did have trouble finding any type of like social commentary type things other than it's a male dominated field and she does not want to help a sister out. She doesn't want to be kind to her. She doesn't want to give her
It's
help.
kind of fucked up. Like
Yeah.
I don't think it's fucked up.
But no, I agree. I understand why though, because like she's worked her ass off to get there, and I'm not saying they implemented that she slept her way there,
That's fine.
or, or
It
whatever. But at the same time, it's kind of like, yo, if she can do the job, she can do the fucking job, and maybe that's her idea of the only way she can get that door opened
Hmm.
for her. I mean, whatever, do what you got to fucking do. But she should admire that part about her. But other than that, I mean, it seems like another woman against woman thing, and every guy around's like whatever.
no,
Yeah,
I
and
don't. Oh.
go ahead. Abe.
No, I don't think that at all. It has nothing to do with the fact that she slept with a guy, her partner. It has to do with the fact that she looked her up and she basically lied on her resume, and she said she was more qualified than she actually is. And the thing is that she also was pissed. Elena was pissed that basically Andreas went ahead and already picked out the sous chef without consulting her, and did so because he was thinking with his dick and not anything else. And so I think it's so easy for men to look at that, in my opinion, especially since Lance is a straight, for the most part, white male.
Oh my god.
And
For the
looking
most
at
part
this,
white or for the most part straight, because I have an issue with both.
well, neither here nor there, but
Oh my
I could
god.
see why you would think it's like women against women. I think it's more of the fact that this is something that she is very protective over, and she takes very seriously, and she does not feel, whether or not it's true, she does not feel that Barbie, or whatever the hell her name is, the movie, Lucia, is going to be that. So again, like I said, they do mention, because Lucia does mention that, or call her a sexist. But my thing is I don't think she's sexist. And I don't think she's non-binary. They do refer to her as a woman at some point. And I think it does help that, I mean, yes, she's a little, I guess, tomboyish, but she's also like this is like supposed to be like a woman empowerment movie, right? Like women are just looked at as witches, and that's all they are, because, if they do anything out of the norm, then they're considered, witches, and they must die, right? And obviously, Ariana DeBose's character needs to be a woman so that she can be a part of this. And she was treated the same way as Barbie when she started working as well. They were stuck at cold stations, they kept saying. So I guess, you can only make salads if you're a woman in the kitchen.
Well, I mean, you could also remember too is unfortunately as a male dominated,
Field,
industry.
yeah,
Yeah,
of
so like,
course. But what
and
isn't?
yeah, I mean, not everything, but I mean, a good portion. Yeah, I would say. But I mean, I
Hairdresser.
hope. Oh, yeah, nurses. I mean,
Hey,
where else
my
are you gonna
uncle's
go
a
but that's
hairdresser.
yeah. But I mean, but those are probably the only times you're gonna see something that's opposite, where a male has had a hard time getting into like doing nursing or maybe a hairstylist. Uh, but in cooking, it's always been like chef. I mean, even the idea of a chef sounds more male than female, And like you said, whereas a big dick swinging, I mean, she's obviously used to that kind of mentality, and how
Hmm.
and what she is. So that's probably why you were saying about how she was finding more femininity about cooking. Even the what is it, the not
The bar-
interviewer, but the
investor.
reviewer. Yeah, well, the reviewer with the
Oh,
investor.
yeah.
She made it seem like, oh, there's nothing of you in this. Everything you cooked is safe because it's exactly what the other chef who showed you how to do this did. This. You have no name. You know what I mean? You don't have any, like, your signature is not on this. It's kind of like how in the menu where it was like, this is what he was about. This is him. This is a part of his appendage, on the
Yeah.
table.
Well, I'm not sure if you mentioned this when I stepped away, but also a lot of this happens because the food is rotting. And so I loved Alvin, which I kind of get because Barbie wasn't, she pulled some shit. Like they were nice to each other. There's even like a time even after this where they brainstormed the menu together, and it's like a really good like connecting moment, because if you're gonna be a sous chef, you have to be safe and like trust each other. Not safe, but you have to be secure and trust each other. And they're coming up with all this great stuff. But before that, when she actually makes that food, uh, and Barbie like starts like, it's a little like, do you? I was like, bitch, don't start. Like, don't undermine your chef about her
Yeah.
food, right? Like to me, that was like that's a low blow. So I kind of get why she's also a little bitter about that. Um,
Well, because Barbie just was very entitled, just how she spoke to everybody.
well,
And it's like,
she reminded me like of Nicholas Holt in The Menu, where she knows a lot, but can she do it?
yeah,
Mm, yeah.
yeah.
Well, there was a moment where it seemed like it was a covenant, though, right? Like because it was both of them making the thing. Like, did that kind of go along with the witch thing when they were starting to get together? You know what I mean? When they were both like kind of like, hey, sourdough, and she's like, oh yeah, sourdough, and then oh we do this and we do that. I kind of felt that that was like the covenant of witches kind of thing, where it was the two women who had to fight to be where they are, kind of thing, or at least remnants. Because this movie is kind of all over the place a little bit. Let's be honest.
I think, and so it's funny because I like podcasts a lot. I like podcasts that are daily just because I like to start my day off listening to someone who is going through the same day I am. I don't know, I find a weird comfort in it. The only one I could find was one called the Daily Witch Podcast. And it's just like this woman who I guess she's a witch, I don't know, but she just kind of goes over like information about like different herbs and different types of like the history of like they just did the history of seances. They'll do like different themed months. One of them was about the medicinal properties of different plants, and they're just like 20-minute episodes that I listen to on the way to work, and I like it. And she talks
Oh,
about
that's fun.
yeah, and she talks about kitchen magic, and cooking is magic essentially. Like you're taking ingredients, putting it in a pot, and then you're coming up with something that nourishes you and gives you health. Like it is kind of like a magic. So what I really enjoyed about this movie is, are you guys familiar with the term cottage-core-ey? I know you are, but Lance,
No.
no. Cottagecore is an aesthetic that is very in the woods, earthy. Like, look at the background behind me. This is very cottagecore. Like people,
Ooh,
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
yeah. And so like people that have their houses that kind of look like a shack in the middle of the woods, but
it's
nice.
rustic.
Yes. And so there's a opposite of that, not opposite, but there's another form of it called goblin core. And goblin core is exactly like cottage core, but you decorate with like dead plants, being like the dried plants that like you hang upside down and stuff, like not like gross dead stuff, but it's a little darker and like things like that. And this movie is very that. This has gardens of like she's getting her ingredients from like a witch's garden basically. And so it's very almost kind of country gothic looking type stuff.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, the I don't know if y'all remember when she has all the ingredients displayed and it makes just like a really aesthetically pleasing image of all the different plants rowed out on the table. I don't know. But it is, I think I also liked it just because I liked the aesthetic of the film. Like
Mm.
it is witchy. But also it's different because it's not, there is horror things happening. Like the old chef is going crazy, and when she finds him, he's in the corner of the room eating his own finger off, and that was gross. And I don't understand really why he went crazy. Is it
Yeah, they
because
don't really explain it. It's just like
yeah,
they went nuts, and maybe they couldn't accept the role, or the witches attacked them because
well,
he wasn't a woman. I like
Yeah, that's
what
what it
was
was
it?
implied. It was implied that the witch has done something to him, or like, he was bewitched, right?
mhm.
So, but that's why where I take
Homage,
umbrage, not
umbrage,
homage. Oh my
I was
God.
umbrage.
But this is where I take
almost there,
umbrage
Lance.
with the film because it doesn't really it kind of contradicts itself. And that annoys me because I mean, when we discover at the end that everything was supposed to be sunshine and roses, that they actually were just like healers, and then but what the fuck
Spoiler.
happened to Magnus chewing off his goddamn arm on the floor, right? So, like, that's why I just, again, I would like this film so much better if it focused more on her and like her discovering something about the house. Like, I think most of the time she's like in the woods eating plants, like, and she freaking got food
The
poisoning and
shits,
she's shitting herself. Yeah.
which was
Like,
awesome because the first time I've seen that in a movie, especially with the girl, where she's throwing
Oh,
up and then
exactly.
she
she did
turns
it from
around.
both ends. Like I was
Yeah.
like, damn, okay, you
Well,
don't see that too often.
exactly. And so, I mean, for me, I just think it's like, okay, this is where the film shines because she is fantastic in this movie. I love her, but at the same time, I feel like what they do with her character kind of, ruins it for me because she essentially is spiraling out of control, right? And again, what do men always say about women? And I just don't really feel that she needed to lose her mind or seem crazy in order for her to get her point across.
I don't think that's not how I took it. And I actually think I think one of the reasons why I also like this movie is because it is very topical of what's going on right now, especially with women.
Hmm.
Is so just to kind of get the story out of the way so the audience knows what we're talking about. So if you want to watch this movie, it's on Amazon Prime for free, but we're about to spoil it. Spoiler. How's the spoiler? But
Spoiler.
basically, yeah. So basically, she's using these ingredients that taste great. They make you feel great. If you've seen Simply Irresistible with Sarah Michelle Gellar, very that. And so uh, she gets her chefs on board to help cook her and cook this stuff, and then she's getting haunting visions. And I forgot exactly what she does something where the food fucks up again, and she's like, "Never mind, fuck that." So she doesn't use it. So she tries her luck.
I think she gets scared of it. Like I think that's where it was. It was maybe I am doing something evil here, and like you know what I mean. Like it seemed like she abandoned the witches themselves. Because remember she threw out that picture. The second she
Yeah.
did that, like the weird wind thing in the trees where it looked like they're jumping to tree from the wind. You know what I mean, kind of deal.
Yeah.
So I think that's where that went bad.
Well, also she was because the witch Sarah, right? Was that her name?
I
The
think so.
reason, yeah, was messing with her, right? Like it would turn off the lights and it chased her out of the house. And the next day she's like, fuck that. I'm not gonna let you intimidate me. And she throws her
Mm.
picture out the window.
Yeah.
So
So she tries her luck with just regular ingredients and it doesn't work out. And they essentially end up replacing her with Barbie. And Barbie can't handle the heat. She's going crazy. And so while she does that, the investor or her partner actually locks her in a cellar to stop her from
in the wine
interfering.
cellar,
I know,
I
girl,
would
open the
stay
bottles.
there. Calm the fuck down.
And
A would have just drank it out. She would have
yeah,
like, woo, whatever.
Open up a goddamn bottle of wine and just wait until he lets you out again. Jesus.
see,
Oh my god.
ladies, just don't be content like Aid. Fight for yourself to get out of the chains, girl. Um,
She's
don't
like,
be
he's like,
dissuaded by a
lock
bottle
me
of
up,
wine.
bitches.
I
No,
know.
I would have been happy just to let that place crash and burn, right? Because he fucking had the audacity to not only put the chick he's fucking in line for head chef, but then locks me in the basement. I mean, at the very least, I'm just happy that it was the wine cellar, but whatever.
Well, this was not enough for Chef. The wine
No,
was
of
not
course
enough.
not.
So she digs herself out, runs into the grave of the witch, and that's when she has like premonition, I guess, like a realization that these aren't bad witches, and they actually didn't consider themselves witches. They were women who got together and cooked and had a good time, and the public viewed them as witches. And when they started getting persecuted, because this was like a long time ago when this was all happening, when they got persecuted for it, they were like, "We're just badass bitches that like to cook. If they're gonna call us witches, then so be it." And essentially, that led to their demise. And I really liked that because it's like, who cares if you're a witch?
Well, they were healing people. They were using the plants to like,
Yeah, the
heal wounds
medicinal
and
purposes of plants and stuff.
And so, I mean, obviously people would definitely consider them to be, anytime a woman does or anytime women congregate and do things without any type of male dominance or male influence, it's a whole
Witches.
fucking thing.
A chauffeur. Well, we don't watch you guys. Y'all are out in the woods naked, circling around a fire, talking a hullabaloo, all this stuff, Beelzebub, and y'all start flying in the air. I don't know what y'all expect us to do while y'all sit there.
Listen, I can't help what happens when the wine kicks in, okay? So,
Something about the moon and the flow of the water in your bodies and your nasty baby pouch you have in there.
ugh.
Um,
All the gossip.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because Lance assumes we were sitting around talking shit, right? Yeah, of course.
That's probably what you are
Of
doing.
course. Well, and this is where I find it to be convoluted because again, if they were good, Why is Sarah tormenting Sarah the ghost, tormenting our chef? Why is she fucking with the food, knowing that as a woman, like, I mean, she's coming in, doing something good, and she's using the ingredients from the earth, like she gardened, like she fucked with the garden in the beginning, remember?
Yeah.
And so I don't know if it was because I don't think it was the fucking rabbit that did all that. I think she did it. I think
The poor
like
rabbit.
that poor bunny. And this is again another disconnect because I feel that because two people wrote and directed this movie, it feels again very disconnected at times. And I think that that's one of the reasons because it's sort of implied at the end that Sarah has possessed our chef at this point when she puts the ring on, and then she's got this devious look in her face after she eats that. What the fuck was that fruit? I don't even know.
Wait.
And
So, just out of curiosity, just not to interrupt. I'm sorry. Would you say technically Sarah is the chef and what's her name is legitimately the sous chef? Because basically, she even said, I owe it to Sarah and her ingredients and all this other stuff. So she's basically become another sous chef for a different chef, like a ghostly one. And maybe that was the idea of her fucking with her was because that's what chefs do. They always give you shit while you're doing something. So she's like
No,
technically the
no, you're
head chef.
wrong. Incorrect,
No.
Lance. So this is what's happening. Let me go ahead and paint a picture for you guys. You damn Gen Xers.
uh,
So the reason, my theory, and this may be wrong, but it's probably not, is that because the whole time when chef is using the ingredients from the garden, she keeps hearing and seeing feed the soil, which I was like, oh, great, a remake of Children of the Corn. And that's another reason why that's the reason why I also kind of liked it because I was expecting it to be like, well, obviously she's gonna have to kill people and feed the soil blood.
That's what I thought
Yeah.
initially. I was really sad by that because I was like, oh, cool, all right.
No, I was happy because that's the fact that I threw that out in my brain means that I don't want that to happen because as cool as it is, I don't want it to be something that is not unexpected or something that is unexpected. And so I think what happened, I'll wait for A to sit down so she can hear this.
She's like, God.
I just didn't want her to be confused as you were. So I think what happened, she finds out feed the soil is not children of the corn, feed the soil with blood. It's feed the soil with love. So the witch is like, hey, if you're going to use my shit, you got to make sure that you're putting love into it. And just like we saw with the menu, when these chefs are doing this, they're not nice to people. They're not even really good people. They're doing it for their ego and they kind of lose the passion. So, you have the food reviewer coming in and she's even like it just didn't have anything. There was no spark, there was no you in it, there was no life or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I think when she has all that realization, the fucking with her, it's kind of like the opposite of what the army does, where how the army is designed to break you down and build you up the way they want to. They're kind of
Yeah.
trying to get her out of that way of thinking that this is a monopoly, this is a business. I'm just cooking you these meals to get paid and essentially breaking her down. Because at the end, they make a huge witch barbecue outside
Yeah, I know.
and she's
He's like
making,
six the tables out there. Like
I
he's like,
know,
let's do this.
uh,
it was super cheesy, but I loved it. And
Uh,
it's, I agree, it's discombobulated, but I feel the ending I like. The beginning I like. The middle, there needed to be better connective tissue from the beginning to the end.
as a band thing, I always say we joke around and goes, hey, listen, you can fuck up all you want, but as long as we start together and end together, it's like
Yeah, yeah,
as
because
long as you make it.
we get it, Lance, you're in a band. Uh, my goodness. But it to me, you needed to have better connective tissue because you can't just spring it on people like this actually isn't a bad thing. These witches are good, and she's cooking with love, and everybody's happy. You remember? Did you ever watch True Blood when there was that mythical figure that made all those orgies happen?
Oh yeah.
That's what it seemed like, how they all kind of act drunk and then they all end up having an orgy.
Yeah.
This was all that before the orgy. And so like
Before the fairies.
yeah, and I get it and I like the
Uh,
message. I like the message. I love the atmosphere. I love the visuals. But there was something missing between when she's locked in the cellar and when the ending happens because it's very close together. That kind of softens that drastic change of what kind of movie we're watching. Very the whole time at the end I was like, this is very A24, even the music.
mhm.
But again, I liked it.
And that's fine that you liked it. That but that see for the reasons that you liked it, I just felt and I even said that well, I said this to Lance and that's how we realized the fiasco of the Instagram drama. But I'm
You
like
talk
this
shit about witches, look what happens.
I know. I'm like it's like the whole ending is like fucking like this is basically Ratatouille. Like oh my God, everybody she's going out of her way to like first of all, she kills the bunny.
Girls gotta eat.
I mean, for Christ's sake. And so, yeah, you're feeding the soil, you're cooking with love after you've murdered this poor bunny.
Maybe the witches
And
sent the bunny to her and they were trying to get her
uh,
to kill it. They're like, hello, we're giving you
I
the
don't know.
ingredients.
But yeah, but then I just thought it was so stupid. Like I don't know. When they handed the food to the critic and to Marcello, which I just love saying his name, Marcello, and they're like, oh, oh, and they're laughing. I'm like, this is Ratatouille. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, I mean, who eats food and reacts that way? And so I thought it was a little like, yes, it was very Hallmarky, but I wasn't looking for a Hallmark movie. I wanted more of a like a ghost, like I don't know. So maybe I was just disappointed in the premise, but
You
that's why I was.
basically poltergeist. Basically, like
She wanted
I
children
mean,
of the corn. She wanted a witch to come drain people's blood over the soil.
yeah, like I mean, some kind of. I mean, and the thing is, it's like okay, the witches are good. That's great, but again, I still don't feel like. I still feel like there's something sinister afoot, especially with that ending and the cam when she puts the ring on and how the camera like zooms in on her face after she eats. And again, what is that fucking fruit she keeps eating throughout the movie?
It's the fruit from Garden of Eden because this is a whole allegory of how women fuck things up for men, um, and for your own desires, if you will. So
Sure. Yeah. Well, whatever. I mean, she seemed to save the damn day in the middle of the night. And by the way, she was filthy. She was buried under the ground. And when and this is what bothered me too. Like that, I did not think that her reaction, like the one behind me, was very indicative of her character. And that's why I feel like there's so many parts of this that could have been fleshed out and less disconnected. Because I feel like when you have two people working on something, there's one vision and there's another vision. Like you're never going to match those visions, you know? And so her her performance where she spits food in the middle of the time, like at that point, seeing that, why didn't people just get the fuck up and leave? Like the kitchen was set on fire. She cut her fucking finger off. They had brown soup. Like,
the shit brown soup, I'm telling you, it was supposed to
yeah,
be a
like
translucent yellow.
well,
more like piss.
it was supposed to be
Oh,
clear. And that's the thing too, is that it just I don't know. I thought it was a little bit unrealistic because at that point, when she flips out in the dining room, I would have been like, all right, get the car, let's
unrealistic,
go.
but a family trait of being cannibals being triggered by eating a kidney of a cow is all of a sudden in the realm of possibility,
It's a
everybody.
bunny. Well, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, whereas some things work with horror, some others do not. So again, if this was a little bit less convoluted, I would have enjoyed it more. Because like I kept having to pause it. And I'm thinking, oh my God, because
Why you had the shits?
it starts off so well. Like I really do like I loved the beginning of it. And I love the part where she gets in the place and she's cleaning it out and like just how she's being treated. Basically, Andreas is like, um calling the shots, but he's not letting her like make any real decisions and he's telling her what to do. And then, instead of listening to her, look what happens. The food goes rotted and then she's like treating the the investor all fucked up, right? Like she
Unless she slaps him in the hand.
she slaps him in the hand, yeah, because she's
There's a
hallucinating,
hot
and this is
spoon.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
So stupid.
And and that's the thing. It's like I feel that this also shows like what happens when men are just kind of dismiss women, especially when they have, there's something going on. There's clearly something wrong, and he just dismisses her, just take care of it. And my thing is like, okay, but you already knew that Magnus, which is again another disconnect. You already knew that the other chef fucking flips out and he's been living in the woods.
Yeah.
Like you would think that this would be something that he kind of mentions to her. But I did love that kid that was working for
I was
her.
gonna say Alvin, and that's my biggest thing is like I know we're supposed to like sympathize with you said her name is Aliana or something, chef.
Elena, yeah.
Elena, we're supposed to sympathize with her, and like, of course you want to like her, and she was likable, but my biggest thing is I've mentioned it before, but this also is what kind of drilled the whole she's not very nice to the only other woman on site is because yeah, she lied on her resume. Who hasn't? Big whoop. Yeah, she may have had to work harder than Barbie to get where she is, but at the same time, Alvin was fucking up all the time, and she was so nice to him. And like
Yeah,
he brought
he's
like
not a chef
instant
though.
rice. Well, I know, but like he brought like instant rice and stuff, and she was so nice to him and did all this stuff. And I was just kind of like, well, why are you being? I mean, I get it. He's cute and he's like a little not all there, but like,
Yeah.
why all of a sudden is she nice to him, but she's mean? I don't mean to her own people in terms of like because it's a woman to woman, but like cooking people, chef people, you know. So
Yeah.
that was my thing.
This-
But go ahead.
No, I was gonna say there's a certain standard to certain stuff like that. I mean, in that industry, like it's just like if you don't get something in 2 weeks, I mean, that was one of the main reasons. Like, I had issues with this one guy, and that's why I almost stabbed him. But like, it was one of those things where it was
Oh my
like
God.
he didn't get it in two
They're
weeks.
going to be using this in the deposition.
I know.
No, but like that's the thing. It's stressful, and it's you got people like this owner, who's put all his money in, who's put a risk of his own thing in there, and he's not willing to stay with anybody long enough to get what he needs. You know what I mean? Like me,
Hmm.
everybody always thinks that it's easy, or it's what I mean, like he's like, yeah, just make another thing, just make this. This is why I hired you, so I didn't have to worry about this. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's a lot of stress on anyone, and then when somebody around you isn't helping you with that, then they're the enemy, basically. And so that's probably how she viewed the other girl. Where like, you don't know what you're fucking doing. I've been stuck with you because of this guy. You know what I mean? The fact that a chef wouldn't be able to pick their own sous chef is insane. Like you must, like, she had to give up a lot to be there for that to happen. You know what I mean? Like where you're okay
Hmm.
with that, because that's insane. Like like when he's like, yeah, I know this. I mean, tell me if you're okay with it. And she was just like, what do I say to that? You own me basically in this situation. I have
Yeah.
no home. I gave up everything to get this opportunity to be with you, and
I
you're
mean,
telling
he
me that
did
you're
too,
gonna stick
though.
with that.
It's a 50-50 because he did too. Um,
Yeah.
but I also think that one of the reasons why I like the ending is because when when she was like in a good mood, she's like, okay, we're gonna do this, Barbie, welcome back. I'm glad you came back. We need you. And like everybody knows that Barbie's taking over and that the chef isn't needed anymore. It's kind of awkward. And then she finds out. And like when that happens, I was like, man, she just can't win. And so at the end, I was like, oh, okay, she ends up winning at the end.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, at that point, she's like, no shits are given. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck it. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. You can stay here if you want to have it. If you do, awesome. If you don't, whatever. And it was kind of funny when you saw the reviewer, because when the reviewer, the guy's like, I'm leaving, and the reviewer was like, I kind of want to watch this shit show happen. Like it was
Well, and
like,
also it was kind of unrealistic for that to happen. But I was like, but they remember when you went to that haunted house in the middle of nowhere?
yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Would you have turned around because of something, or would you, and but you knew like they were gonna fix it somehow, or would you stick around? Because that was like my reasoning is they were really far away from like anything. It was in the middle
Yeah.
of nowhere. Like, are you really gonna leave even though you know they're gonna like set something else up? Like, at least stay and figure out if they do something better.
Yeah, no, and that I can see that too, but some parts of it, like you never know, because with reviewers in that industry can be just as posh as anything else. You know what I mean?
Like in the menu.
Fashion. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things where it's like, but I mean, at the same time, maybe they just like, if I miss that, like you're saying, I might miss out on something almost like if you know how cooks are, and some of them are this crazy, you know what I mean? Like, I'm very passionate, maybe use passion instead of crazy. I guess that'd be the best way to say that.
Yeah, don't
But
upset our cook fan base.
yeah, I know. But yeah, I mean, maybe she saw something in it and she was like, all right, cool, let's see what happens. But like Ade was saying, a lot of it, just some of it seems so magically like, okay, so
It was a magical movie. It's great, everybody. Give it a watch. What we have here is people that aren't used to upper echelon type films that want to see films of, I can't say because it'll spoil what's next week, or just like girls scissoring each other the whole time or having sex with their gay friends. Like, sorry, I didn't have any of that smut, you guys. Sorry, I saw something classy and worthwhile, but can't win them all, I guess.
I'm not saying it's a bad movie. Like I mean, if people want to watch it, yes, watch it. Will I watch it again? Probably not. So, like, it just depends on what you prefer. And you know me, I've always loved a slow burn, so don't even go there about the fact that
yeah, it definitely was a slow burn.
I just didn't think, like I said, I just felt there was a disconnect, and I know I keep saying that, but I can't quite put my finger on it. There's a few things that I had issues with, and I just feel like if it was a little bit shorter and it leaned more into the haunting as well. Like, you can't just, so the part where she's walking through the house and the light turns off behind her, like, that's a good part, right? But then we rely on the jump scare, and I forget this is a Blumhouse film, everyone. So
He just produced it. But
mm,
anyways, I think we've
Mhm.
spent enough time in the House of Spoils, so I'm gonna have to take my House of Spoiled Brat podcasters and leave this establishment.
Mm.
So overall, I would say I forgot to rate it on Letterbox. Sometimes I watch it and I'm like, oh, I need to rate it on Letterbox, but I'm like, wait, Ade and Lance don't know what I think about this movie yet, so I'm gonna wait.
hmm
But yeah, I would probably get it 3 out of 5 stars.
Okay.
Ade.
Oh, I have to rate it.
No,
I'd probably do 2.5 out of 5.
of
So
course, she always has such just a little. Uh,
yeah,
we usually enjoy the same things, so don't even go there.
I know.
I don't know. I needed some more blood. I mean, I got like 2 things of blood, 1 jump scare.
That's something Lance can say in the movie theater and in the bedroom. I needed more blood.
I need more blood.
You're disgusting, Lance.
Eh.
Anyways, he's so gross.
It's an okay movie. It's if I'm gonna do it out of 5, I'll probably give it 1.5.
Well,
Well,
before I get pissed the fuck off, if you want to catch our video cast, I'm just which
Fuck you all.
which condenses our review, and you can see our lovely faces as Lance tells you he needs more blood. Check us out at youtube.com/slasherspodcast. We also have Patreon if you'd like access to monthly exclusives like sweet trailer park reviews and exclusive reviews of other movies we haven't covered on here. You can find them at patreon.com/slasherspod. If you're the kind who likes to wear your support on your tits, you can always go to our Redbubble and buy anything from coffee cans to dental dams at slasherspod.redbubble.com. Instagram, if you want to follow us, you can follow our main page at SlashersPod or Mutant Goons from Beyond. If you want to complain directly to one of us and tell Ade and Lance that they need to hire their echelon of films, you can find them individually at Pathologically ADE, that's Ade, me, Horror and a Half Shell, or Lance at Zombie versus Hate, that's Zombie vs Hate. If Facebook is more your style, you can catch us on the Facebook group at Mutant Goons from Beyond. Please support our homies Doug and Yahira on B-Movie TV. You can catch Doug on Friday Night Action and Yahira on Saturday Night Terrors. This is only available on Roku, but Rokus are cool, so you should get one. As always, we rely on the support of our listeners. We want to give a special shout out to our amazing Patreon members: Josh Gunn, Dinosaurs Will Always Be Awesome, Laureen Ellis, my mom, Kevin Leamy, Vladimir Luis, Leslie Thurman, Cam, and Dan Gamboa. Newlywed Dan Gamboa. Sorry, ladies, don't be messaging him. So head on over to Patreon to join the likes of these amazing folks. Next week, Lance will be bringing the main course.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait to hear what Ade has to say about this one.
Right before Thanksgiving, how fitting.
Yes. You're all welcome.
Yes.
I have it. I've never watched it, and
Uh,
I know it is not Blood Rage or what's the other one with the twins?
oh,
I thought that was Blood Rage. Oh, the Cronenberg movie?
No, not that one. Is it Blood Rage? Yeah, it's
I
Blood
thought
Rage.
Blood Rage was the one with the twins.
Yeah, the twins. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not the one with the twins, guys.
It's not Poultrygeist.
And we've already done Poltergeist, and I'm not watching that again either.
We've already done Thanksgiving. So we'll leave it to you and your deductive reasoning to figure it out.
there's only so many poultry movies out there, folks.
And you know, again, and I will say that the horror genre needs to cash in more on Thanksgiving horror, because this is a great holiday.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess You're Next is sort of considered Thanksgiving.
Fuck that movie.
I do like that movie, but I feel like we can have more situations where we have these, turmoil.
That are
things
Black Friday
happen.
movies.
Well, yeah, because
Well-
Thanksgiving, you're coming together for thanks, and the next day you're all killing each other. But technically,
Exactly.
Thanksgiving, you're killing. Yeah, I mean, everyone's talking shit at the table. Grandma's making rude comments. There's your racist uncle. You've got.
the what is it? The turkey actually was almost the nation's bird instead of the eagle.
Well,
Fierce.
Nah.
it should be.
Turkeys
I
have a
guess
nice dress.
they do.
But also, just as a side note, if you want some more Thanksgiving horror, there is Flesh and Bone on Hulu. And there is Pilgrim. They're both entries to the After Dark series.
Okay.
But they're full movies. And then there's one that I haven't seen that I want to see called The Last Thanksgiving. So look at those if you want some more Thanksgiving horror films while you're stuffing that big bird, right, Lance?
Always.
Anywho, see
Oh,
you guys next
God.
week. If you want to hear us before then, sign up to our fucking Patreon and hear our Trailer Park review coming out soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.